Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Three Language Patterns to Increase Conversions with MAPS coach Anna Kruger. Please note this webinar is being recorded and you will automatically receive the webinar recording. If you have questions for your coach, please type them into the questions box located in your webinar taskbar. Following the webinar, if you have any questions about today's call or coaching programs, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com. That's FASTTRACK@kw.com. That's all for me, Anna. Take it away.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's 30-minute webinar. We have a lot to cover. So if you don't already have something to take notes, go ahead and grab it. You're definitely going to want it for today. Today, I'm going to share with you my top 3 favorite language patterns to start a phone call. Now, I see several of you in here, and I recognize you from the class, Mastering Inside Sales. And I love that you're here and your dedication to continuing to grow. So you're going to recognize some of what we're talking about today, and that's great. It's going to help you get to mastery, which is what we want, right? Mastering inside sales. So let's go ahead and jump in and talk through what's the goal for today. Then we're going to get into the language patterns, and then at the end, I'll open it up for questions. Now, I will tell you, to deliver this to you in 30 minutes is not a lot of time. So I'm going to move relatively quickly, knowing that this is recorded and all of you will get a copy of the recording. Because what that means is you can listen to it, back it up, listen to it again, and make sure you grab all of your notes. So get your fast ears on and let's go. Okay, a couple people are typing in that they're not able to hear. Is that the case? If you can hear my voice, would you say that you can hear me in the questions box? Okay, Mike can hear. So I'm just going to type in real quick, make sure your volume is on. And Carlos, I don't know if you're still here. I know you've had challenges. Maybe something you fixed would help those that can't hear. If you can't hear, dial in. That's a good point, Mike.
Yes, if you can't hear, check your audio. Drop down, click on the drop down menu on audio, and just make sure that you are using the correct your correct equipment.
They just can't hear you. So I'm going to put check the audio drop down menu. Okay, I'm going to send that out to everybody. Okay. All right, it looks like most of you can hear me, so I'm guessing it's just on their end. So we're going to go ahead and jump in. Again, this is recorded, so if they can't hear, they can grab it. All right, so let's talk about how to open up a phone call. Now, what I'm about to teach you, again, if you're in the class Mastering Inside Sales, you've seen this before, and you can likely attest to the fact this looks super simple. In fact, often when I teach it, people will sometimes comment like, this seems really easy and elementary. However, when they go to actually do it, the feedback I get is that is significantly harder than I thought. So if you're tempted to say this is easy, let me tune out for just a minute, I would actually say tune way in, because this is a key to opening your calls well. The philosophy behind this is you want to be more of a consultant, not a salesperson. What I firmly believe, and you can write this down, is if you listen to people's stories and then strategize and educate to help them get what they want, you will have all the sales you need. So I'll say it one more time. If you listen to people's stories and then strategize and educate to help them get what they want, you will have all the sales you need. You need that one more time? Okay. So if your job is to listen to people's stories and then strategize and educate to help them get what they want, and you'll have all the sales that you need, and you'll be just fine. So all of the patterns I'm about to give you are centered around open-ended questions to get them talking. So let's start with the call opener. So there are 5 elements to the call opener. The first one is your name. And I know that sounds so simple, yet sometimes we leave that out. I remember one call, I asked my boss, I'm like, why is no one ever calling me back? She's like, Anna, you're not leaving your phone number. Oh, okay, that might help. So sometimes the obvious things we need to make sure we're doing it. So you're going to say their name as well. Now, if you don't know their name, which often when we're calling a for sale by owner, or maybe we're calling expireds, there's maybe 5 names attached to that house. So how do we know the right name? So what you're going to do is say your name and their name. If you don't know their name, you're going to say, I'm not sure who I need to speak to, and I'm hoping you can help me. Put in the questions box, why do you think we would say, I'm hoping you can help me? Why would we say that? I'm going to give you a chance to type in the chat box there. Yep. So Angel said to make them feel like they are needed. Kat said people back down when you ask for help. Exactly. So most people like to help. Yeah, Gail says people love to help. Erin makes people feel important, and there's a lot more in the box. Thank you so much for participating. So yeah, if we call and we say, hey, this is Anna, I'm looking for the owner of 123 Main Street, that sounds kind of businessy and transactional, right? Yet if I instead say, hi, this is Anna, and I'm not sure who I need to speak to. I'm hoping you can help me out today. Make sure you're smiling when you say it. And then I'm looking for the owner of 123 Main Street. It comes across much more person to person. I'm a normal human being looking for some help today. And that will incline them to be more likely to want to talk to you. So your name, their name. And if you don't know, hey, I'm not sure. I'm hoping you can help me out today. And then the next element is you're going to thank them for taking your call. You're going to thank them for taking your call. What we are not going to do, anybody know what we're not going to say? And you can take a guess and you'll probably be right. There's something that we ask people in our openers that a lot of people do it. I used to do it. And we do it to build rapport or just to make them feel heard. And it actually detracts from the conversation. Yes. There's two. One, I hadn't thought of this one, but you're right. The one I was thinking of, and Scott said it, is how are you? Well, guys, what do they usually say? Good, how are you? It's like this meaningless, what do you want? Let's just go kind of thing. Or they'll answer you, and it's usually one of those answers, and you're like, oh, they were just waiting for someone to complain to today, right? So what you actually want to do is say, hey, thank you so much for taking my call. And that's going to build rapport. When you express gratitude, that is one of the best ways to build rapport. If I get a thank you note, or if you send a thank you note to someone, or you get one yourself, it just feels good, right, to be appreciated. So thank you so much for taking my call. The other one that people said is, hey, is now a good time? And we want to eliminate that. They picked up the phone. It is a good time. Please don't ever, ever ask, is it a good time at the opening of a call? It's a good time they picked up the phone. And what we know is if it's not a good time, they'll tell you, right? And we're actually going to talk about that pattern in just a moment. So your name, their name, if you don't know, hey, I'm not sure, I'm hoping you can help me out today. And then, hey, thank you so much for taking my call. That's going to build rapport. By the way, if I just called you and I said, hey, thank you so much, Dominique, for taking my phone call today. How rude do you feel hanging up on me now, right? So this is one of those patterns that seems super simple. It actually does take some practice. And people usually will write me after a webinar like this, after maybe a week or so, and they'll say, I'm seeing so many more pickups and conversations because of that pattern. And it's in large part because you're saying, thank you so much for taking my call. Then you're quickly going to move on and reference the source. And one reason I like this opener is it works for everybody that you call, right? If you are calling an internet lead, you could say, thank you for taking my call. You were on our website last night. If you're calling an expired listing, you could say, hey, thank you so much for taking my call. I saw your home came off the market, right? Or maybe you're calling a lead that's been in your database for a while. So, hey, thank you so much for taking my call. I'm calling because a while back, and then you'll reference the conversation. So how many hours does it take to get to mastery? Somebody put that into the chat box, and you can take a guess if you're not real sure. Yeah, it takes 10,000 hours to get to mastery. Everybody is typing that in. Awesome. I love the participation. By the way, it gives me a lot of energy, so thank you. So the reason I love this opener is because when you reference the source, it makes it that you can use this for everybody. So let's have one standard opener that we use for expireds, for sale by owners, for internet leads, for sphere of influence. You can use this for everything. If you have a different call opener for every different type of lead source you call, you are extending how long it's going to take you to get to 10,000 hours of mastery. And I want you to be at mastery as fast as possible. So your name, their name. Thank you so much for taking my call today. Hey, I'm calling you because fill in the blank. And then you're going to ask them an open-ended question about their motivation. And I'd love for you to put in the chat box or the questions box, what is your favorite open-ended question to ask about motivation? Go ahead and put that in the questions box. My personal favorite is to point out that moving is a lot of work. What made you think about moving today? Or moving, if I'm calling it expired, it might say, you know, hi, Jamie, this is Anna. Thank you so much for taking my call today. I'm calling because I saw your house just came off the market. You know, moving is a lot of work. What made you list your house 6 months ago? And I'm going straight into motivation. And let me read some of these out of the questions box. Oh yeah, moving is a lot of hard work. Put that on your radar. Tell me about what's Tell me about what's motivating you to move. Yeah. Make sure it's not what made you visit our site. It's what's making you think about moving. Okay, a couple people typed in about, you know, what brought you to our website. That's likely going to lead to an answer about logistics. And instead, you want to talk about their motivation. So your name, their name, thank you for taking my call, reference why you're calling them, and then get right into motivation. Ideally, this will take you about 15 seconds or less. So you don't want to belabor this. Get right down to motivation as fast as you can. So I'll demonstrate the whole thing for you. Say I was calling an internet lead. So, hey, Elliot, this is Anna from the Haro Group with Keller Williams. Thank you so much for taking my call today. You were on our website last night, and I'm curious what has you thinking about moving. Just get right into it, okay? If they're a for sale by owner, it might be, we don't usually know their name. So I might say, hi, this is Anna, calling from the Haro Group. And you know, I'm not sure who I need to talk to. I'm hoping you can help me. I was calling about the house on 123 Main Street. Is that you? Okay, great. What's your name? Perfect. Hey, thank you so much for taking my call today. And I'm calling about that house you have for sale. And you know, moving's a lot of work. What has you thinking about moving? And you can go straight into motivation. Perfect. All right. So that's the call opener. Now in actual class, Mastering Inside Sales, which we have another one starting January 13th, we actually spend about 30 minutes just on this. And in class, I have people write it out, we practice it, we get feedback. For today, we're going to move on so I can give you the other two language patterns, but just know we spend a good amount of time on this in class. It's not something that usually people can just do with excellence just from this one little thing here. So what I would encourage you to do when we're done the webinar today, write out your template. So it might say, hi, blank, this is so-and-so from this place. Thank you for taking my call today. I'm calling you because blank. Hey, moving's a lot of work. What made you think about moving? That way you have a template to use. That's what we do in class. Okay, now what do we do with people who we deliver this call opener and then they're like, ooh, it's a bad time. Can you call me later? Which, by the way, let me ask you guys a question. If it's a bad time or if you're in a meeting, do you pick up the phone? You personally? And there's always a percentage of people that say, I always pick up the phone. Or maybe it's the person waiting for a test result from their doctor. They might pick up the phone. However, most people are not going to pick it up unless it's a good time. So that's why we don't ask them, is it's a good time? It's basically like saying, you know, hey, do you want to hang up on me? If you ask them if it's a good time. You want to just assume it's a good time if they picked up the phone. However, if they give you what I call a stall, which would be, ooh, it's a bad time, can you call me later? There is a way to navigate that. So let's first talk about what a stall is, and so you can identify them, and then we're going to talk about how to handle them. Again, rewatch this webinar a few times. In actual class, we actually spent an entire hour just on stalls. For today, I'm going to give you the pattern, and then you can practice that on your own. Again, class starts January 13th. We go over this in great detail. Okay, so what is a stall? How do you know that you have a stall? So the first thing is it occurs the first 30 seconds of a call. So if you're, 10 minutes into a call and someone tells you something, it's probably more of an objection. A stall is like the initial, ooh, I don't want to talk to you right now. We do this when we walk into the department store and someone comes to us and says, hey, can I help you today? Oh, no, I'm just looking. Well, we're there for a reason. I just did this Saturday. I was looking for a lamp for this very office I'm standing in. And I walked in the door and she said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Oh, no, I'm just browsing. I'm just looking around." I actually knew exactly what I was in the store to find, but I didn't feel like having someone help me. I wanted to browse by myself. So that's what they're doing. It's essentially when we walk in the door, so to speak. For us, it's when we initially get on the phone call. So they picked up the phone and now they're giving us a stall. Okay. It's call avoidance is what it actually is. So what are the 3 stalls? And there's only 3 of them. So if you hear something and it's not one of these 3, it's probably more of an objection instead of a stall. Okay. So the first one would be, "It's a bad time. I can't talk right now." What else do they say? Basically, they're saying it's a bad time, but sometimes they'll use different wording. And again, they just picked up the phone. It's probably a fine time. And they are more just wanting to get me off the phone. So in a meeting, yep, I'm at work. My wife is calling me. Yep. So that might be what they say. So it's something related to, it's a bad time. I'm in a meeting, I'm in the car, it's a bad time, I can't talk, I'm at the doctor's office. Which, by the way, I'm going to teach you how to tell if it's legitimate. Just bear with me. But the first thing I want you to recognize is it's a stall. They just picked up the phone. It's likely a good time for the overwhelming majority of people. Okay. The other type of stall that you may hear is email me. Now remember, when does this happen in a phone conversation? It's the first 30 seconds. So if I've been talking to someone for 12 minutes, and at the end they're like, "Hey, could you actually email me some of this information?" Depending on the conversation, that might be a very legitimate request by an interested lead. Remember, a stall occurs the first 30 seconds. So that's your trick to know, is it a stall versus if it's later in the call. Now, if they email me, that's another version. Basically what they're doing, guys, is, "Oh man, I didn't know it would be this person." And I hate to say that because I love you all. I love ISAs. I've been in ISA for like 14 years, since 2006. I'm all about making calls. And we just have to recognize, if we just got on the phone and they're like, "Oh, can you just email me?" It's a version of, "Oh man, I don't want to talk right now." If they're really interested, they should probably want to stay on the phone, right? So can you just email me? It's a brush off. The other stall that you may hear is, "I'm no longer interested," or "I'm not interested." In that one, you want to consider the source, meaning if they came to you through an internet lead, can we all acknowledge they were interested enough in something to put in their name and number, or we wouldn't even be on the phone? So maybe they aren't looking to move, but they were looking for something. So what is that thing? If I'm now calling a neighborhood, inviting people to an open house, and they say not interested, well, that might actually be legitimate, right? Because I called them, they did not reach out to me. All right. So 3 types of stalls. It's a bad time, I can't talk. Number 2, email me. Again, first 30 seconds of the call. Number 3, I'm not interested, or I'm no longer interested, and you just have to know the source. Let me ask you, if you call an expired, meaning their house just came off the market, and they say they're not interested, would you say they're really not interested, or, "Ooh, nope, that's a stall"? Give me your opinion on that. And then in just a moment, we'll teach you how to do it. Yeah, it's a stall. Everybody said stall. Perfect. Because they just came off the market. So that tells us, had they had an offer yesterday or last week, that was a good one, they probably would have sold the house, right? So it's a stall. Now, there's a way to keep them on the phone. It's actually a really easy way to keep them on the phone. So the first thing you're going to do is welcome it. So write down welcome it. And that's going to sound something like, "I'm so glad you told me," or "Thanks for letting me know." So use your own words, but make it quick and short, because remember, this person basically has their phone. We'll pretend this eraser is my phone, and they are about to hang up on you. So you want to real quick, "Thanks for letting me know. I'm glad you told me. Hey, I appreciate that." So you want to welcome it first of all. Why are we welcoming it, by the way? Why not just respond to it? Yeah, it builds rapport. And Kat said it, it makes them feel heard. It makes them feel heard. It is obnoxious, and we've all talked to this salesperson. We're like, "Ooh, I'm not interested." And then they just kind of steamroll over us and keep talking to us. And it's obnoxious. We don't want you to be obnoxious. So it's simple acknowledgement is usually enough. So, hey, I'm really glad you told me. The second step is to ask a question about the stall. So a couple options. If they say it's a bad time and I can't talk, just say, okay, when is better? Notice this is short and sweet. It is 3 words because they're about to hang up on you. So you don't want to say, oh, I'm glad you told me. So when would be a better time to call you? Today or tomorrow, morning or afternoon? Okay, what's the best number? They're going to hang up on you. I learned that the hard way. So just, hey, I'm really glad you told me when is better. Super fast. Another option would be, oh, I'm really glad you told me. What type of information would you like? And that's for if they said email me. The reason we're not asking for an email address is twofold. One, I do not actually want you to email them a big long email with information. If you think about it, this person did not even stay on the phone with you for more than 30 seconds. So you're about to invest all this time to email someone who their signal to you is actually not interested, right? Like they're brushing you off. So I've done this. You hang up and you craft this beautiful email. Well, now, first of all, they have all the information they wanted. So why would they get back on the phone with you? And two, it consumed a lot of time. So I actually more want to find out what they care about. So, hey, yeah, I'm glad you asked. What type of information would you like? And they usually answer with, whatever school district, or I'm curious about 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, which makes it really easy for me to engage in conversation. Oh, cool. What caught your interest about a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house? And now we're actually talking because we asked an open-ended question. If they say not interested or I'm no longer interested, you can just say, okay, well, when you submitted information last night, what were you looking for? Or when you were interested, what made you want to move? Okay. And then here's the real thing. We want you to get to number 3 as fast as possible. You're going to ask about motivation. So for example, if someone, maybe I'm going through my opener and then I say, or they say it's a bad time, this is what it would sound like. I'm so glad you told me when is better. Okay, great. Hey, real quick, what had you thinking about moving? I mean, look how fast that was, right? If they say email me, okay, glad you asked. What type of information would you like? And they'll answer me probably, bullet point. Okay, great. And I'm real curious, what had you thinking about moving? And what I find is oftentimes they start going deeper into this. Okay. Again, this is a pattern we spent a whole hour on in the actual class. So this is a brief overview, yet you can certainly implement this, watch this webinar a few times and grab it. Here's the rule of thumb. If they say it once, keep talking. So basically, if they keep talking, you keep talking. So if they say bad time and then you say, great, glad you told me, when is better? Hey, what has you thinking about moving? Once they engage, if they keep talking, you keep going. Okay. The worst thing you could do is say, anyway, you told me you were busy. I'll call you later. That's the worst thing we can do. We actually want to keep talking with them because they're still talking. Because remember, it's probably not true that it's a bad time. The other rule of thumb is if they say it twice, go ahead and let them go. So sometimes it happens that they'll say, well, we want to downsize, but like I mentioned, I have to go. Okay, great. I just got a little nugget, right? And that's usually what they do. If they actually do get off the phone with us, they usually reveal something because of this pattern. So maybe they say, I want a better school district. Okay, great. Anyway, I got to go. Okay, great. I now know to put in the notes, this person is interested to change school district. So when I call them tomorrow, I can say, hey, Natalie, I know yesterday you were interested in school districts. I'm immediately in better rapport, and there's that wow factor of she listened to me. Okay, so again, big pattern. This works. I set an appointment with someone once who I heard her say to her husband, this girl is good. I actually want to go meet her. I didn't even want to talk to her. And I think she had the phone kind of on her shoulder, didn't know I could hear her. And she literally said, this girl is good. I want to go meet her. And all I did was this pattern. It was nothing that you can't do. It was just this pattern. So far, just to remind you, we've gone over the opener. Oops. We've done the opener. Then we've done stalls. And now we're going to talk about how to dig into motivation. And I will tell you at the end where to find the class if you would like more, because this is pretty much everything I'm teaching you today is about 3 hours in the actual class. We spend an hour a week going deep into a topic, and we do that for 18 webinars. But let me go ahead and give you the overview, and then we'll talk about where to find the class. So once you get into motivation, you're going to ask an open-ended question. If you notice, both the opener and the stall pattern ended with an open-ended question, right? So moving is so much work. We'll put that on your radar. Now, assuming that they answer you, you're going to ask 3 more questions. So if they say, we want to downsize, okay, step number 2, what will downsizing do for you? Well, we want more money. Okay, how will having more money impact you? Well, we want to travel. My husband's about to retire, and we just really want to not have the stress of this big mortgage. Okay, great. Tell me more about traveling and not having this big mortgage. That's how you dig deep into motivation. And this is something we go over actually quite a bit. We go over it the very first class of Mastering Inside Sales, and then we go over it about 4 sessions in, and we bring it up a lot because motivation is the most important thing. Put in the questions box, why do you think motivation matters so much? Because there are some people out there that will say, you do not need that. You don't need motivation. And I totally disagree, as well as a lot of other people, right? So why does this matter? And while you're typing in, I'll continue teaching the rest of the pattern. So you're going to open it up. What has you thinking about moving? Whatever they say, you're going to ask 3 more questions using their word. Then you're going to summarize it. Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is you want to downsize so you have a smaller mortgage and your husband can retire early and then he can travel. Is that right? And that gives them a chance to either, wow, she really heard me, or add to it, right? Like, actually, there's this other thing, or actually, let me clarify, there was a misunderstanding. So this will help you make sure you're really on the same page and you didn't miss anything. Once you make sure you understood, then you're going to say, okay, great. Is there anything else that makes you want to move? And what I find is now we have rapport because I used their words. I asked open-ended questions. That put us in really great rapport with each other. So I often find if I say, is there anything else? They'll say, yeah. And then I get the really good stuff, right? And the reason this matters, a lot of you put this into the questions box here, is it gets their emotions, and emotions causes them to do things. If you think about it, all of you have something in your life that was hard to do, but your motivation, your emotion was so high, you figured it out. And you just maybe thought, I don't know what I'm going to have to do, but I'm going to figure it out because I really want to do this. If there's no motivation, it's hard for us to keep them moving, right? If someone no shows or if someone doesn't call me back, I can say, hey, are you okay? I remember that you wanted to downsize so your husband could retire early and you could travel. What's going on? Are you okay? And it gives us a really good way to hold them accountable to their own goals. And that's all we're doing. Remember, this webinar started with your job is to hear their story and then strategize and educate to help them get what they want. That's your job. It's a really cool job, actually. So that's how you do it. That's how you dig into motivation. So let's talk real quick about how you can get more stuff like this. This was 3 patterns that I flew through, okay? Knowing that this is recorded and you can watch it a few times if needed. However, we go over 19 language patterns in Mastering Inside Sales. And we do that through 18 different Zoom meetings. It's actually more interactive than this one. Some of you know because you're in the class. I love it because you get to see everybody in the class and everybody's muted. It's not all chaotic and everything. But what I love is we can talk to each other and it feels like a community. And I know as an inside sales agent, we need a community, right? So it's 18 video calls through Zoom. We also have breakout rooms. So we might teach a pattern like this, and then I'll put you in a breakout room, which is kind of like a virtual table. Like, hey, get with these 3 people at a table and discuss or practice. Well, in the virtual world of Zoom, we can actually do that. So you get to practice live in class. We meet 3 weeks a month for 6 months for those 18 video calls. And then you can see, we give you tracking systems. I actually provide 3 trackers for you. We go over 19 language patterns. We talk about mindset. We talk about schedule. And total, it's $11.94 for 6 months, but you pay monthly. So it's $199 a month for 6 months. If you do the math on that, the average commission in the US is $7,500. Some of you have way more than that. Some of you have less. If you just have 1 closing as a result of this class, that's over 5 times ROI. It's ridiculous. So it is a fantastic class. It starts January 13th, masteringinsidesales.com. I actually just spoke with an ISA about 2 weeks ago, and she told me because of being in this class, and we're only 9 sessions in so far, well, tomorrow is session 9 out of 18. She said, I'm already seeing 10 more held appointments per month because of this class. So not 10 set, which that would be great too, but 10 more people a month are actually showing up for the appointments as a result of this class, and we're not even halfway through. Tomorrow is session 9. So join us for the next class, January 13th. You can go to masteringinsidesales.com, and actually let me go ahead and go there real quick. Can you guys still see the, can you see the website here? I think it's going with you. Okay, so here's the website, and it's basically you can see sign up now. If you scroll down, you see everything it includes, okay? And if you click on this, it takes you to the MAPS website of the contract, so you can sign up, okay? All right, let me go ahead and read some questions here. Again, masteringinsidesales.com. Rick said I took it once and I'll be in the class again on the 13th. Awesome, that'll be so great. And Rick, I think you'll like it because you'll actually be in Zoom this time, which is different. Okay, Drew asks, how is this class different than language of sales? That's a great question. So this is very specific to inside sales agents. Now we do have people in here that are not inside sales agents, they're agents, and that's fine too. It kind of depends on what you want to learn. The thing is, we teach a lot more than just the language patterns. So if you're looking just for, maybe you're an agent and you're just looking for actual language, that might be the right class for you. This one, we give you tracking systems. We go over the economic model for an ISA. We go over how do you hand over a lead to your team so that it goes well. The handoff is where a lot of people lose their clients. So how do you hand a lead from yourself to your agent in a way that it goes well, right? How do you track your appointments? All of those things. Yeah, and someone just said, I have a brand new agent coming on and this could be good for him to watch. Yeah. What I'll tell you, my personal goal in this program is that at the end of 6 months, you know how to think and act like a business owner within the real estate team that you work for. So when I was an ISA, I was very aware I have my own little business inside of the Haro group because I'm an ISA and I could make a totally different income than the ISA sitting next to me because I have my own conversion numbers. I need my own economic model. I can't use the team data for everything. I have to know my own numbers. And how do I track that? And how do I make sure I get paid? How do I keep my mindset in a good spot? So my goal is at the end of this, you think and act like a business owner in the business that you work for. And if you're an agent, some of you are saying you're agents in the box, that's totally fine. We have, I think Rick, actually, there's a lot of people in there that are not ISAs that are telling me they're benefiting from the class. Yeah. Ooh, Rick just said he increased his closings by 44%. That's ridiculous. Nice job. And guys, it's $199 a month. How much more, if you had 44% more closings, what would that do for your income? Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so basically, if you are interested to talk to humans and turn them into clients, it's a good class for you. That's the gist, as well as tracking systems and some additional things on top of that. All right, the classes will be on Wednesdays. I don't remember the exact time right now. I think it's at 2 o'clock Eastern, but here's the thing, they're all recorded. So say you sign up and you know you're not going to be there one week, we record it and post within 24 hours. So no issue. But they will be on Wednesdays, I believe at 2 o'clock Eastern. Perfect. So go ahead over to masteringinsidesales.com and save your spot. We are going ahead and filling the class now. And I hope to see you in January, and we'll go a lot slower in the class so you can actually get these patterns down, practice them live. We get you some script partners. I love it. It's actually teaching that class is my favorite hour of the entire week. So I'm excited to see you guys there. All right, if you have any questions, just go to masteringinsidesales.com and you can ask questions there, or you can shoot me an email. My email is mapscoachanna@gmail.com. All right, guys, have a great one. Those of you in class, I will see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.